Hi everyone, Kevin Icove here, and today I'm filming the ants, and these two ants, Ben and Charlie, they're carrying a dead piece of what looks like a yellow jacket, a piece of a yellow jacket with the wings, and I'm just showing you how Ben and Charlie here are communicating with other ants. They're basically moving this dead piece of yellow jacket down for the rest of the colony to enjoy and probably break apart into pieces and have for future food. And so they're moving it from the top of this section, which is they're inside this little playhouse, this play castle house, and they got to move it all the way down this whole entire ladder. And so as you see them move, they will be communicating with other ants. You'll be seeing part of how they travel and talk and communicate with each other. And I'm just showing you some of the area where they're basically up here. These ants are up here looking for food and searching this area. It looks like they do favor bugs over some of the other things here. A lot of these are broken pieces from a tree above, but they're not going after those. They're really searching more for dead insects and things like that and clearing them out. And they do a fantastic job of it. And when God first came to the earth, he came to the earth looking to man to see what was going on and what was happening with man. And when he observed man, he realized man wasn't doing anything for God. Man had forgotten about God. But the ants were constantly doing God's work. And so God came and started to observe them. And here they are in their glory. They're working on moving this particular insect, and they're cleaning and clearing just as they always have. And believe it or not, ants are a part of your nervous system. When you reach a state of heightened awareness, heightened reality in your body, you'll feel ants, like those ants, millions and trillions of ants crawling on the body. And here we have the same ants. They're moving this bug down the ladder. And it takes them several tries, several attempts. They talk to different ants. They communicate to different ants along the way. And so you will see them as they move this bug further down the ladder. And it takes time. And they continue to communicate. And so here we go back, and we're looking for Ben and Charlie here, somewhere in here, with this piece of food that they've gathered. And I'm just showing you observation skills as well. One needs to take time in their life to observe things such as ants. This is how you will gain connection to nature, connection to who you are, and start to learn how to be a part of everything that's here in our world. Ants are deeply connected to the earth. Some would call them scavengers, but they basically are cleaners. They clean up the earth, they maintain different things, and they continue to work and clean. And if you've ever seen an ant hill, once they dig that hill, it's like a dome to God. They create this little dome-like hill up to God, and they constantly do the work without ever complaining, without ever arguing, without having any problems whatsoever. They do their best to communicate to each other, and they work on getting something done, no matter what it takes. And you'll see them moving up and down the ladder. This is part of their supply chain as they move up and down. Different ants are being told different things. Some are moving things up, some are moving things down. And so they're letting you know. And here they come over the top. They just moved over the top of the ladder now. And Ben and Charlie still have it, but they're communicating with other ants. They're communicating with other ants as they move this yellow jacket, piece of a yellow jacket down the ladder. And this is the top of it. And there's probably about 6 steps to this ladder. It's quite a long little ladder for them. And once they get down to the bottom, then they'll move into down by their actual colony. and move this further apart. But here you can see they get stuck in one little spot. Some other ants come down to communicate with them to tell them what's the best way, what's the best thing to do, and they try to observe that. Here they get into another spot where a whole bunch of ants gather together to communicate with them to tell them what's going on, what's happening, what they discovered, what they found. And so ants communicate greatly with each other. They work together as an organized colony in order to help each other. If we did more of this in life, in which we work together and participated in helping each other, we would live a much better life instead of just living all separate from each other all the time and working sometimes against each other, trying to get ahead of another. Ants tend to work with each other, for each other, and definitely for the earth and for the earth mother. And so here you see them cleaning up, caring for the earth, and basically gathering things for their colony to survive. We're definitely in the fall season, and so the ants are enjoying gathering the food to establish a food bank for their whole entire colony. And so just enjoy the observation of this. I cut out lots of parts, but I tried to include the ones that were the most enjoyable that I thought, and that you can see how ants work together to make something happen. And they can move basically 10 times their weight. And you will see an ant a little bit further on in this that's carrying a single piece by himself. This one with the wings, I think, is a little bit more difficult to carry and bulky because, as you can see, sometimes they struggle in moving this particular piece. Here you can see them pulling and carrying this same piece down over the side. And they work really hard at what they're doing. And they continue to communicate with each other throughout the whole entire movement of this dead piece of yellow jacket. And now here you saw the other ant pass by, and so I'm going to follow him. And so he's basically bringing this other piece of food straight down the ladder by himself. And so sometimes he gets a little confused as to which way he's going and whatnot. He's got this big heavy thing on the back of his back, and he's carrying it himself. And it takes him a while as well, but eventually he figures out where he's going and goes down the right way on this ladder and gets to the bottom of the hill even before the ones that I was calling Ben. And he's moving it down the ladder as well with that yellow jacket. But this is something on a different piece of food that he found, and he's moving that down there. And you can just see how powerful they are when they do their work. But they all work together. There's ants that will communicate with him at some point because he seems to have gotten a little disoriented in returning back, going down. And that's why I continued to film and observe him here, because he initially seemed like he was like heading straight on down with no problem, and then he got like a little disoriented and confused. And he will eventually get communication from the other ants, which here you see there's some communication going on here. They're basically letting them know how to stay on the right track here. And once they tell him, there he goes. He's moving straight down that ladder pretty fast now. He went over on the back end of it, but I try to continue to film him as he's going down. And each time they hit the rung of the ladder, sometimes they get a little confused. And they're not sure, because it's like something in their way. But there are other ants there to help guide them around that, and it looks like he learned from the previous ones. Now he knows. He just stays on the outer part of that when he hits each one of those rungs. And so that's what he's doing. And that was the communication. And you can see him now. He's rapidly moving that down the side of the ladder. And it's a long ladder. And so this is what they're all moving this food down this ladder from this top shelf to gather food for their colony. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my filming of the ants. It helps teach you some observation skills. It helps you to learn how to take some time out of your day and look at things in nature and discover how to be one with that instead of just going out and buying some bug killer, killing the ants from coming in your house. Take a day out to observe what's actually there in front of you and enjoy life and nature at its most basic element. Have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day. And I hope you have some understanding and development as to what ants are, and that they basically make up part of our nervous system. And as you enter into higher states, you will feel it.